I think a lot of people consider the Niners the class of the NFC. I mean, they didn't get to prove it last year against the Eagles, but, Brock Purdy got hurt, and they kind of feel like they could have won that game, maybe. Plus, the Eagles lost Javon Hargrave, and the Niners signed him. So a lot of people feel like the Niners are the team to beat in the NFC, and maybe they are. But I think it's interesting that the three teams that are really on their heels in the NFC, Detroit, Seattle, Philly, I mean, let's go through it. Detroit has 5 picks in the top 95, 6, 18, 48, 55, 81. Seattle also has 5 picks in the top 95, 5, 20, 37, 52, and 83. And Philly has 4 picks in the top 95. That's 10, 30, 62, and 94. So those teams are coming for the Niners. If they're remotely good at drafting, they're going to close the gap. And the Niners have no picks in the top 95. I mean, they don't really – they're good at drafting later. But it seems to me that the Niners core is a bunch of guys in their 30s, plus Bosa and Debo. This is a good year to win the Super Bowl. NFC's weak, but these teams are coming with some young talent.
Well, if they want to open that, so here's the thing: is the Super Bowl window closing? I don't know, man. I kind of feel like they've been trying to push it open for a long time. Maybe it's like painted shut, but they're peeking out.
Yeah.
Until you get the quarterback, to me, it's not really fully open. And
it's fool's gold.
It's fool's gold, right? Get Aaron Rodgers, that window's wide open. That window's wide open. If Brock Purdy, Trey Lance turn into something that we haven't seen yet, then that will open the window. But I just believe you need a quarterback, man. And I know we got to the Super Bowl and we were pretty close with Jimmy Garoppolo, but it didn't work out because of the quarterback. Like, that was the main reason, in my opinion, that the 49ers didn't win the Super Bowl. The quarterback play was just not at a high enough level. Kyle Shanahan didn't even trust Jimmy Garoppolo. They need a quarterback. That's what they need. And so I don't think the window's closing. Now, if you're looking at just the roster outside the quarterback position, yeah, they got a couple years left before they're going to have to kind of like rebuild this thing a little bit. Not like a full rebuild, but they're going to have to replace a couple of big-time players like Trent Williams and guys like that, which is going to be tough to do. So that window they got a couple of years left on it. So basically what I'm saying is they need to figure it out with the quarterback within these next couple of years if they want to take advantage of those other players.
Yeah, I just feel like this was interesting about, I guess, the 2023 49ers. I feel like they're kind of done. I mean, they could always make a move mid-season, but how many of their draft picks are going to make an impact this year? Maybe 1 or 2. Maybe 1 or 2. I mean, it's going to be another redshirt class, which I think is how the Niners like to do business, which is fine. But for this year, like, your team is kind of done, and your 3 biggest rivals in the NFC are not at all. Like, each of those guys are probably going to get 2, maybe 3 impact players in the draft coming up. Impact players, not just starters. So that's interesting. I mean, which one's it going to? Yeah.
I think honestly, I'm pretty hard on the 49ers, but I got to give them credit for building the roster outside of the quarterback position. So I feel like even if the window we're talking about with like Trent Williams and Debo and Ayuk together and those kind of guys, all that, George Kittle, that window might be closing, but I honestly believe the 49ers will be able to find good players throughout the roster. It's just the quarterback position. So it doesn't really bother me necessarily. Like, Trent Williams is going to be hard to replace. That's going to be really tough to replace. But I think the 49ers can find replacements at those other positions, but until they have their quarterback, it's all moot.
Joshua Wyatt says all the Niners offseason moves so far make the team All the Niners offseason moves so far made the team better. All the rumors would make the team worse. Sign OBJ, bring in Wash Rodgers, trade Trey for 7 raspberries. Frankly, I believe none of it.
Yeah. I actually don't think
you don't think they're interested in Rodgers? I believe they're interested in Rodgers. I do.
So I think they would take Rodgers, and I would support the Rodgers move. I don't think he's washed. I think he's got more talent in him, but I don't think anything is going to happen. I just don't. It doesn't seem like they're in. But maybe they're tired of not coming close and not going all the way. Maybe this is the year they do that.
I think it would be fun to see Kyle and the Yorks have to deal with Rodgers. I think that'd be really fun. Because the Yorks didn't want Rodgers.
Yeah.
The Yorks made an organizational decision with their coaches and GM at the time in 2005 that they didn't like him, and it was very much his personality. And you know what? They were right about his personality, but they were wrong. They were wrong. So now they would have to work with that guy that they didn't want to work with. And now it's worse. Now it's freaking worse. 38.
Why, if the 49ers wanted you and they could give you the same offer that the Jets could, why in the hell would anybody choose the Jets over the 49ers? If you look at their rosters, you look at their coach. I mean, no, actually, I like Saleh, so I'm going to take that back. But if you look at the roster, why are you going to the Jets over the Niners? Why would you do that? This is your hometown, for one. Like, this is where you're from.
What's most important to Rodgers? Winning? I don't know about that. What's most important to Rodgers might be control. He didn't have it in Green Bay. He wants control. And in New York, he would run the offense. It would be his offense. On the Niners, they would have to work that out, him and Kyle. You know, there'd have to be some negotiating, and that would be a little tricky considering Kyle is a control freak. So that would be one reason. But if Rodgers' main concern is winning, then it's the Niners.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why does he want control? He wanted control because I think he thought that would help them win. But if he thinks the 49ers, he can win with the 49ers roster and Kyle Shanahan, maybe he won't care about control as much.
Maybe he wants control because he's an egomaniac.
That's possible.
Cody Walker's, I'm just saying. Possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, Brady gets control. Why shouldn't I get control? I'm better than Brady. Is probably how Aaron Rodgers would think.
Yeah. I would have a hard time picking the Jets over the Niners if I'm a quarterback. Like, I'm going to the Niners, no question.
Cody Walker says, remember when Trey seemed reluctant to talk about how hard he threw the ball in his first year? Funny considering where we are now. You want to see a funny video? Go check out Google. Go search on YouTube. Phil Simms, Bill Walsh. There's an interview of Phil Simms talking about when he was at in college, getting worked out by Bill Walsh. I think Phil Simms was the first quarterback taken that year. Walsh wanted him, but the Giants took him, and Phil Simms had a strong arm, and he was trying to show it off for Walsh. And Walsh was like, oh, no, that is too hard. Slow it down. He wanted a catchable ball. Obviously, he wanted Phil Simms. He wanted a guy who I'm sure he would love to coach Brett Favre and John Elway, but he wanted the guy to throw a catchable ball. That was something he wanted, to be able to take something off. So watch that interview. It's interesting.